Live from North Texas and the WNDU studios, this is a special Cotton Bowl Clash edition of News Center 16's Countdown to Kickoff.
You are looking live at AT&T Stadium, the site of the 83rd Cotton Bowl Classic, where in just 30 minutes, the number 2 Clemson Tigers and the number 3 Notre Dame Fighting Irish meet in the college football playoff with a trip to the national title game on the line. The Irish arrived in Arlington just about 90 minutes ago for the biggest game Notre Dame has played in almost 6 years. Brian Kelly's boys from the Bend are big underdogs, but they promise to surprise the college football world and silence their critics. And the Irish faithful love the sound of that. They are out in force this afternoon in and around Jerry's World with golden dreams on their minds. Good afternoon and welcome to this special college football playoff edition of News Center 16's Countdown to Kickoff. On WHME Sports Director Chuck Freeby. And let's bring in the countdown's Alex Wilcox from Arlington. Alex, neither of us predicted Notre Dame would be here when we sat next to each other for that first countdown of the season before the Michigan game. But now, Notre Dame just minutes away from playing on a huge stage.
Chuck, it really is a surreal moment. As you mentioned, neither one of us predicted they would be here. A team we thought would be good but not great now finds themselves in the college football playoff for the first time in program history. And should Notre Dame get a win over Clemson today in the Cotton Bowl, they will find themselves playing on college football's grandest stage. Both Notre Dame and Clemson are well aware of what is on the line this afternoon. The Irish have the tradition, 11 national titles. History's team has a pedigree like no other, with a bond formed with fans from coast to coast over a century of greatness. But the recent decades haven't been so kind to the Irish. They know it's time to add to their lore with a college football playoff win, something their opponent today already has a lot of experience with.
We think we've got a very good football team. And our goal has been to win a national championship and get back to that. We're back here now. We've got to win a football game. We got a really good opponent in Clemson. We know the challenge in front of us, but we're excited about it.
You have to play well in this game. It's a few plays in games like this. So I'm thankful that we've got an experienced team, but I still it still comes down to how you play on that particular day.
And we've heard it all month. This is going to be Clemson's 4th straight trip to the college football playoff. They were the runner-ups in 2015, and they won it all in 2016, and now looking to add another trophy to their collection. Chuck, of course, if Notre Dame wants to stop them, they're going to need their offense to continue its upward trends.
Alex, it is the story of the Notre Dame season. The change at quarterback from Brandon Wimbush to Ian Book in Game 4. And the spark that came with it. All Book has done is complete more than 70% of his passes, tossing at least 2 touchdowns in the 8 games he started. But he and the Irish receivers he's connected with are not the only ones who played a huge role in the offensive revival. Dexter Williams returned from exile 5 games into the season and ended up leading the team with more than 900 yards rushing and 12 TDs. Now today, Book, Williams, the receivers, and the guys up front get their biggest test. So what do they have to do to pass it?
Our offense just needs to be successful. Every time we get the ball, we need to be able to score. And at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing. That's going to decide whether or not we're successful or not.
We're definitely better in all phases. The offense just coming together, just being more prepared, just carrying out plays and being more successful when carrying out plays. So it's definitely just a lot of more team bonding, and definitely a lot of more of us just trying to go out and just make a lot of plays.
Well, the Irish offense definitely needs to continue to grow and make some big plays. The Irish defense has been doing that all season long, Alex. They've been dominant since the opener against Michigan.
Yeah, Chuck, that's really when we first noticed that this defense might be something special. They took on a pretty good maize and blue team that's playing right now against Florida in the Peach Bowl, and they shut them down. The Wolverines could only muster a late touchdown as the Irish kept turning them over and knocking around quarterback Shea Patterson all night. The defense then carried the team through a mid-September slump and a top 10 matchup with Stanford. In November, they really showed off in the Bronx, completely shutting down Syracuse's dynamic attack. and they iced USC, holding the Trojans to just 7 points in the second half to clinch an undefeated regular season. Now, of course, it's the postseason, and there's still plenty fueling them.
There's no chip on my shoulder. I know that we have to that nobody believes in us, and we have to work hard in order to prove to them that we're here and we belong. And I think that if we're able to do that and we're able to work hard and execute our game plan, then we'll have I like our chances.
We are very experienced defense, and so we're comfortable, changing some things up, and that's our plan, that's our goal, and just making it tough. That's all you can do, for young quarterbacks, is make them really think, that extra step, and that's kind of our plan.
And Chuck, we'll now see what the Tigers bring, as they are a very good opponent.
Absolutely, Alex. This 13-0 number 2 team in the country is stacked. And it starts with true freshman quarterback Trevor Lawrence and his 2,600 yards passing, 24 touchdowns this year, stable of strong wide receivers. Then there's that incredibly exciting running back, Travis Etienne. He has a Clemson record 8.3 yards a carry this season. The Doak Walker Award finalist, also with 21 rushing touchdowns. And just how good is the Clemson defense? Well, both teams say it'll be just fine without Dexter Lawrence, the star suspended after a failed PED test.
The D-line doesn't come, it's a team game. Our D-line doesn't just come down to one man. Our defense doesn't just come down to one guy. Our team doesn't just come down to one person. Nothing like that.
That defensive front is dominant. That's something they hang their hat on. Somebody brought it up yesterday, much like Notre Dame hangs their hat on their offensive line play. And at the professional level as well. Clemson has guys who have came through here and are absolutely dominating at the next level. And the guys they have throughout the ranks here are one and the same.
So it's the first time in college playoff history 2 undefeated teams are playing each other. It's the first time these current members of the Tigers and Irish will meet, but their coaches are very familiar with each other. Let's go back to Alex for a look at the last time that Dabo Swinney and Brian Kelly matched up.
Yeah, Chuck, that game was one of the more memorable games for either program that they played in the last decade. The date was October 3rd, 2015, in a water-sogged battle between these two programs down in South Carolina. Deshaun Watson was the star of the show for most of that night for the Tigers in Death Valley. The soon-to-be NFL quarterback showed his versatility, throwing for 2 touchdowns and running for another in the pouring rain. But the Irish put on a furious comeback in the fourth quarter, pouring on 19 points. The game came down to a 2-point conversion try, with Deshaun Kaiser being stopped just short of the goal line with only 7 seconds remaining. Clemson won the game 24-22, and since that game, the Tigers are an incredible 50-4. Now, that recent history with Clemson, of course, is not the only trip down memory lane that a lot of Irish fans are taking today, as Notre Dame has an extensive history playing right here in the Cotton Bowl. Today is the 8th Irish appearance in the Classic, the most of any bowl game for Notre Dame. The relationship began on New Year's Day 1970, when the Irish decided to play in a bowl for the first time in 45 years. They dropped that contest to Texas. A year later, they got the Horns back, winning 24-11 in 1971. And 7 years after that, Notre Dame beat Texas again, this time vaulting to a national championship. A year later, who can forget Joe Montana's heroics in the chicken soup game against Houston? We'll talk a lot more about that in our Subway trivia questions coming up. And Lou Holtz's Irish played Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl 3 times, going 2-1 against the Aggies. Now, the last of those games was 25 years ago, which is also the last time Notre Dame won a major bowl game. And Chuck, the Irish certainly would like to end that streak today here in North Texas.
Well, when you get to game day like we are, Alex, for a game as big as this one, there is really only one question on the minds of all of us who will watch, and that is the topic of today's Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. Who do you think will win the Cotton Bowl? Right now, 60% of you say it's Notre Dame, 40% say it is the favored Clemson Tigers. There is still time to make your voice heard in the Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. We will bring you the final results in about 15 minutes on the countdown. Now, with just about 20 minutes until kickoff, what's going through the minds of the Irish as they get ready? Well, the countdown's Mark Skol Jr. is also in Arlington. And Mark, the moment these guys have dreamed about their whole lives is almost here.
Chuck, Notre Dame is just one step away from getting to the national championship. Going against the Clemson Tigers, a perennial college football playoff team, will be tough, but the Irish can't wait for the challenge.
Come on, man. Let's go.
It's been 35 days since the Irish last took the field, and they are itching to play some ball.
Hell yeah, coach. Hell yeah, coach.
We're getting close, and yeah, everyone's really antsy to just play and, have Saturday here.
Well, it's finally here, and the Irish get to play under the bright lights of AT&T Stadium.
Being in a stadium like this is no way you cannot feed off the energy, and I know I'm a guy that feeds off energy. It's something I'm prepared for, and I love to play on a stage when the stakes are high.
Notre Dame touchdown!
With the stakes at an all-time high in one of the biggest stadiums in the country, the Irish aren't changing a thing.
The stadium's amazing, but we're still getting to the same work. We're still working for the same goal. We're still working with the same guys. So with that, it's just been an amazing experience, but at the same time, we're still down doing what we're supposed to do.
The Irish say they are supposed to do what they've talked about since January, play to the Notre Dame standard so they can play in the national championship.
Is that the play that will seal the playoff bid for Fighting Irish?
I'm very confident in this team. I trust this team. We've stuck to our process, and we're very excited about Saturday.
The Notre Dame football players are excited because they can change the narrative that's been haunting this team for decades.
Today is tomorrow's history, and we got to keep building it. It's been 30 years since we've won a national championship. That's pretty unacceptable if you look at our tradition of 11 national championships, 7 Heisman Trophy winners, a ton of great players, and so it's good to be back on that stage, and we got something to prove Saturday night.
With the entire college football world watching, the Irish hope to prove what it means to wear the blue and gold and step up big in a big-time game. Chuck, I'll send it back to you in studio.
Didn't know Drew Tranquil was a philosophy major. All right, thanks, Mark. The countdown from the college football playoff semifinal is just getting started. Up next, will Dexter Williams, Ian Book, and Brian Kelly be the best running back, quarterback, and coach on the field today? Alex and I sorted it all out with buy or sell on the countdown. And here's your first Subway trivia test. How much time was left in the fourth quarter when Joe Montana returned from the locker room during that famous chicken soup game at the 1979 Cotton Bowl? The answer when the countdown returns in 2 minutes.
Here's today's Subway Eat Fresh trivia answer.
7 minutes and 37 seconds. That is how much time was left in the fourth quarter of the 1979 Cotton Bowl when Joe Montana returned to the field. What he did then is the stuff of legend. Fueled by chicken soup, the comeback kid led the Irish to score 23 unanswered fourth quarter points on that frigid Dallas day. Notre Dame beat Houston 35-34 in front of a small but hearty crowd that stayed to brave the elements and saw one of the greatest endings in college football history. We are back with the ever-popular buy or sell on the countdown. Alex rejoins me from Arlington. First item up, big man. 4. Is it the right number of teams in the college football playoff? You buy that or sell?
Now, I'm going to sell that. I want to double it. I want to see 8 teams in the college football playoff. If you get 8 teams in the college football playoff, think about this. You can get the champion from all 5 Power 5 conferences. You can get a group of 5 champion in, like a UCF, so Central Florida can stop complaining and claiming bogus national championships. And then you can still get 2 at-large teams to get in a team like Notre Dame or possibly a team like Georgia, who's a very good but didn't win their conference. I would love to see this expand to 8.
I like what Dabo and Dexter said this week, and both of them pointed out the fact that there's a college football playoff game each and every week for these teams, that the regular season has some meaning. I don't want to make it look like basketball where if you lose a game in the regular season, big deal, you're going to get in. Come on, keep it at 4. Dexter Lawrence's absence will play a huge role in the game. Do you buy that or sell?
I absolutely buy that. There's a reason that it's been the talk of the town all week. Look, Dexter Lawrence is going to be a first-round pick in April's NFL draft. You don't lose a first-round pick 6 days before game day in a national semifinal and not have it be a big deal. Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. I'm buying it.
I don't know how you can be 0 for 2 today, but you're wrong on this one too, because they got another big-time talent right behind him in Huggins who's coming in. They're going to be just fine without Dexter Lawrence. What about Dexter Williams, Alex? Will he be the best running back on the field today?
Go Tigers, man. Go Tigers.
Look, Dexter Williams is incredibly talented. He's been Notre Dame's home run hitter all game. The problem is on the other side, Clemson has a dangerous home run hitter as well. That, of course, being Travis Etienne. I think he has a bigger day than Dexter Williams, so I'm going to sell that.
I don't know if he winds up having a bigger day than Dexter Williams, but I think he's at least as good, if not maybe a little bit better than Dexter Williams. So I agree with you on that one. Ian Book, is he the best quarterback on the field today?
I think he is. Now, he's a junior. Trevor Lawrence is just a freshman, but they've actually got the same level of experience. But here's where I think is the difference. Clemson doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. If they've got any weakness, it might be the secondary. I think Ian Book can take advantage of that today.
Yeah, I will buy as well. I just like Book and what he can do with his legs as well as with his arm. And then finally, is Brian Kelly the best coach on the field today? Buy or sell?
I'm going to sell that, Chuck. When you look at the experience, Dabo Swinney has been here before, his 4th straight trip to the college football playoff. He's won a national championship. He's played in another. Brian Kelly has struggled on these big stages. I'm going to sell that.
8 straight 10-win seasons. I'm not saying Brian Kelly hasn't improved or done a good job. I just think Dabo might be a little bit better. I'll sell as well. Yeah. Alex, we'll check back in with you again in a few minutes from Arlington. And up next on the countdown, it's time to check in with Irish fans. Now less than 15 minutes to go until kickoff. We'll see what the mood's like with the faithful both here in South Bend and those who've made the trek to Texas. And here's another Subway trivia test. We know about Joe Montana's heroics in the '79 Cotton Bowl, but which Irish player's score gave Notre Dame the win over Houston? The answer when the countdown continues in 2.
Here's today's Subway Eat Fresh trivia answer.
Joe Montana cemented his legend in the famous chicken soup game, the 1979 Cotton Bowl versus Houston. His touchdown toss to Chris Haynes miraculously tied the game at 34 after the Irish trailed the Cougars 34-12 just 7.5 minutes earlier. But the game-winning point was scored by Irish kicker Joe Eunice. The Dallas native actually had to make the kick twice after an illegal procedure penalty took the point off the board. But the second one stuck, and Notre Dame won 35-34 in a game that went down in Irish lore. The energy across Irish Nation continues to build. Kickoff just about 10 minutes away, and we're with Irish fans here at home and at the game. Lindsey Stone joins us from O'Rourke's in a minute, but first Maria Catanzarite in the parking lot outside Jerry's World to show us how fans are getting pumped for the Cotton Bowl. Maria?
Chuck, you're right on the money with the word parking lot, because you give Irish fans a parking lot and they are going to know how to throw a party and party hard. Let's take a look at that video from earlier today of those tailgaters. Pretty chilly weather here for North Texas, so really nothing different compared to the typical tailgates in South Bend. You have the food, the dip, the beverages, pickup football, four-legged friends, and of course frenzied Irish fans who are coming all over to witness a possible playoff win.
Really excited, you know, the nerves are kind of high, big stakes for the game. This stadium is a lot nicer than Baltimore's stadium, so I'm really excited to be here. It's my first time.
Yeah, insane stadium, really excited to be here. Should be a great game. Notre Dame will cover the spread, it's my prediction. We'll not lose. We're going to win. We're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, a 12-0 season your senior year, you can't really ask for anything better. And just, yeah, we've traveled a lot, so we really enjoy the games and stuff, and just being able to come down was so cool, and it worked out perfectly over Christmas break. Hopefully we're all in California soon.
Yeah, California certainly might be a lot warmer than what we have here today. Now, as for those game predictions, most of the Irish fans say that Notre Dame's going to win it with a high-scoring game, although there was one guy, an Irish fan, who thinks Clemson's going to win this. An honest answer from him, but Chuck, try it as it goes. Time will tell. Sending it back to you up in South Bend.
All right, thanks, Maria. From those Irish fans who headed south to those of you now in South Bend watching and waiting for the game here at home, the countdown's Lindsey Stone is a stone's throw away at O'Rourke's in Eddy Street Commons. Good afternoon, Lindsey.
Good afternoon, Chuck. And so many people have been here at O'Rourke's for hours already, waiting for Notre Dame to take on Clemson. And I have to say, these fans seem confident that Notre Dame is going to be taking home a victory tonight. One fan said that Notre Dame is going to have to bring their A game to compete with a team like Clemson. But he has no doubt this team is ready for tonight, and so are the fans.
Everybody's here. Everybody's looking forward to this game. It's a huge game. Everybody takes pride in their team, right? Go Irish. I think they're going to have to bring their A game. I mean, Clemson's tough, right? They're a little bit ahead of us as far as rankings go, but I think if Notre Dame steps up and plays to the same as Clemson, I think we'll be all right.
To hang out here with all my fellow Notre Dame fans, this is fantastic. Like, we are going to be the most excited fans out of anybody out there.
You can already feel the energy and hear so many people ready to cheer on the blue and gold towards a victory tonight. Chuck?
All right, no sampling of the product, Lindsay. Here are the final results of today's Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. We asked you who will win the Cotton Bowl. Now 62% of you say Notre Dame will win, only 38% going with Clemson. Thank you for voting in the Lock Monday Auto Group Irish fan poll on WNDU.com. It's what to watch for on the countdown. Alex and Mark rejoin me from outside AT&T Stadium. Fellows, we start with the keys to the game. Alex?
Chuck, my key to the game is to establish the running game with Dexter Lawrence out. The Irish have to take advantage, get those backs going, and get their offense in a rhythm.
My key to the game is rattle Trevor Lawrence. He's scored at least 40 points in every single start this season. The Irish need to get to him early. Chuck, what's your key to the game?
It's time to empty the playbook and be bold, kids. Don't hold anything back. You got to find a way to confuse Clemson today. Now to the X Factor picks. Alex, get us rolling.
Like step on my foot.
Look, out of all the talented players on both sides, I went with the guy standing on the sideline. I'm going with Brian Kelly. He's struggled in these big game scenarios before. I want to see if he really has changed like he says he has, and if he can get Notre Dame to a win.
My X Factor has got to be the other Dexter, Dexter Williams. Dexter Lawrence is out today for the Clemson Tigers, the All-American defensive tackle. I expect Dexter Williams to step up, and in his absence.
I like your X Factor, but I'm going to go with Miles Boykin because I think he is going to have to be a very physical receiver today against Clemson's very solid corners. So look for Boykin to come up with some big plays. Now the moment of truth, predictions. I would love to pick the Irish, and I hope I'm wrong, but I will take Clemson 31-24 in this one. All right, Mark and Alex, it's your turn now for your predictions and to wrap things up from Dallas.
Go ahead, Mark, what you got?
I'm going, Chuck, I like your score prediction, but I'm going to flip-flop the teams. I'm going 31-24 Irish. I think they're going to come out and go to the national championship.
It's been a fantastic season, but unfortunately, I think it ends tonight for Notre Dame. 30-24 Clemson over Notre Dame. That'll do it for us here in Arlington. Notre Dame and Clemson airs on ESPN in just a couple minutes. Thanks for watching.